Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you well from wherever you watch this channel. Abdul Swamad has decided to set the record straight on this allegation of ODM and UDA coalition pact.
We do not have a coalition agreement.
Remember, if you go online right now, everybody seems to be talking about that pact. Many are advising people like Sifuna and Babu Owino to leave ODM because ODM is definitely in a coalition pact with William Samoei Ruto. And Sifuna has time and time again told us that he cannot be party of that deal. So I'd like us to go into a remark that was delivered by Abdul Swamad. Now, for those of you who've been following the politics of Abdul Swamad, you know that Abdul Swamad and Raila Amolo Odinga have always had some close tie. And the relationship between the two goes back to the days when Sharif Nasir was still alive. And Sharif Nasir was the father of Abdul Swamad. So the relationship between Raila and Swamad goes back to those days. That's why when Raila's body was being received at the JKIA, you saw Swamad, he was very emotional. Now, the person who we can rely on the most to give out a secret from Raila Amolo Odinga is Abdul Swamad. Now, what has Abdul Swamad told us? I wanted to listen to this video.
We do not have a coalition agreement. We never signed a coalition agreement. We never signed anything else. We signed exactly that. We're in a broad-based situation where we have an agreement that, look, there are 10 issues that we feel are affecting Kenyans. We lined them up. We sat down
and said, let's implement these issues.
Exactly.
Now, very well, ladies and gentlemen, ODM has two factions. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that ODM currently has two factions, but that is what used to happen even when Raila was alive. The faction that supports Ruto, the faction that doesn't support Ruto. So what has Swamad told us here? The Master Governor has just told us that there is no coalition agreement between ODM and UDA. There is no coalition agreement. What he's telling us is exactly what Raila Amolo Odinga told us, that ODM only donated 4 experts to the Ruto government so that they can use the 4 experts to help them, deliver on their manifesto. So that's why you find that people like John Badi, Joe Oparanya, and Wandai, they are part of the government. But do they have a coalition pact? That is what Swamad has told us, that there isn't any. So what does this mean? If that is the case, then I think Sifuna is right. And Sifuna's policies or pressure that is piling on ODM is coinciding. It's just, Sifuna is basically trying to interpret what ODM stands for. And the policies in UDA do not measure up to the policies in ODM. So that's the main reason why you find that Swamad could have said that ODM na UDA bado until a pact is arrived at, a coalition pact is arrived at, well signed, well agreed, but kama hii itafanyika, UDA will have to go it alone. So let's look at what is going to happen post this kind of remarks. Last week, for those of you who've been following the issues of ODM, there was a statement that someone shared, a statement where Swamad was seen to be supporting Sifuna and Babu Owino. Then we have another faction that seemed to have supported Wanga and the other team, Oburu and the like. What Swamad is standing for is exactly what Raila Amolo Odinga would have stood for if at all Raila was still alive. And I think I've been following Raila Amolo Odinga's comments. Na he has been saying, he used to say that hakuna coalition, hii ni tu arrangement, arrangement kwamba utimize hizi mambo makumi. Ikiwa utaitimiza vizuri, basi we can think of a coalition pact. So I think that is what was communicated, and in fact Sifuna elaborated it during that signing of the pact. No? So Sifuna akasema kwamba this will make us decide whether we can be with William Ruto or we cannot be with William Ruto. It will help them, make that kind of decision. So when the scorecard was being evaluated, scorecard as to whether the UDA have been honoring the pledge, it was established that UDA had not honored those details which were agreed upon during the signing of that pact. So because of that reason, Sifuna escalated the division. He escalated his push to have ODM walk away from that arrangement, because there is nothing that the president was honoring. That was something that was communicated well by Edwin Sifuna. So if Abdul Swamad, who praised William Ruto during the battle of Raila Amolo Odinga, can go to an extent of making such a statement, then you can as well imagine what is going to happen post this year. Something is going to happen next year, because next year is when they'll be heading towards the election. Something that I know that ODM is not going to be support Ruto because of is that if at all Kindiki is to be the same person to still be the deputy president, then I think ODM haitasimama na Ruto. The only way ODM can can actually support William Ruto is if at all they are given that very important position, and that is the deputy president. So again, that's a very important thing to note going forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on Swamad's comments, what do you think? See, this is Swamad. This is Raila Amolo Odinga's trusted buddy. It's just like Joe. So if you can go to an extent of saying that hakuna coalition agreement, I think that's a very important thing to note. So let's just wait for what is going to come from people like Sudi, people like Farouk, because they are most likely going to react to this kind of comments, because they are the ones hapa ambao wanataka kusaidiwa. If wasiposaidiwa saizi, then they will definitely collapse. So they need ODM, but ODM is divided. So what is going to happen? So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.